And welcome to Geno's Picks. Yeah, we missed our Seattle pick in the Super Bowl, but me and Joe still finished at 59% on the year, better than most of Vegas, and good enough to win our second Geo award, right? But you don't have time to sit and listen to us pat ourselves on the backs, right? We got March Madness. You got brackets to fill out, so let's get to the picks. But first, you know what really grinds my gears? Tim Tebow. Yeah, he's a great guy, but he needs to go away. He was working out with Chip Kelly and the Eagles today. Wow, who is his PR guy? Doesn't matter. And doesn't anyone out there try to impress me with the fact that for the past 2 years he's been working on his delivery with Tom House? That's Tom Brady's personal throwing coach. It doesn't matter because House himself just said Tebow went from being inaccurate with no spirals to kind of accurate with pretty good spirals. Really? That's your endorsement? He went from lousy to not so shitty? Please, this guy wouldn't have a Heisman Trophy or a job if it wasn't for the SEC. So stop it, NFL media machine. Let me tell you some facts about Tebow. He's 27. He hasn't thrown an NFL pass since 2013 when the Patriots cut him in the preseason, and he hasn't thrown an accurate pass since 2012 when Denver beat the Steelers in the overtime in the playoffs. So I think it's safe to say he belongs one place behind a desk because that's where people can appreciate his slow, harmless delivery. And believe me, he's not getting the announcing gig in Philly because they already have Merle Reese, who's been calling the Eagles and yelling, "Oh Christ," a lot longer before Tebow ever did. Okay, let's get to some madness. Let's get to the brackets. In the East, Villanova is the #1 seed, and while they ran away with the Big East, many people aren't impressed. And while a lot of people think they'll have trouble with #2 Virginia, who may have lost 2 of their last 3 games, they still had an impressive 8-3 record against the top 50 teams. Why? Because the NCAA in March is like the NFL in the offseason. Everyone's paying attention to who you beat and how badly. Which is why in this division I love the #3 Oklahoma Sooners, who have the 12th toughest schedule in the NCAA, and they will take the East, unlike the Novas, who was 20th, and the Cavs, who were ranked 22nd in the schedule. The South, I'll tell you who not to pick. Overrated UCLA, who many feel did not even deserve to get in. The last time a school came under this much fire, it was 45 years ago, and that was at Kent State. And unlike the shooters at Kent State, UCLA can't hit anything. Trust me, the UCLA goes out in the first round because they're going to face a tough SMU squad, who I'm sad to say, as good as they are, will fall in the second round because they will take on the team that I love to win the entire bracket, the #3 Iowa State Cyclones. Really, Gene? The 3 seed? What about #1 Duke and #2 Gonzaga? Please, do you realize Gonzaga has not made it past the Sweet 16 this entire century? The only school that's had more problems with Sweet 16s than Gonzaga basketball is Penn State football. That's right. Oh, and Duke, please, if you neutralize Jahlil Okafor, you've got 4 mediocre players left. They should probably call them Jaleel and the other OK4. See what I did? Seriously, though, Duke did not impress me this year, and I can't believe they got a #1 seed. The only Duke getting more attention for doing nothing, Prince Charles. Yeah, little history. He's the Duke of Scotland. Shut up. Take the Cyclones in the South. Which brings me into my next bracket, the West. Wow, this is a strong division. It's so good that North Carolina got stuffed over here as a Joe, is that a football? Anyway. They're a 4 seed, but don't expect much from them as they faltered all year, closing out games with poor foul shooting. In fact, if you Google embarrassing finish in basketball, the Tar Heels come up after Finland's Olympic basketball team. Yeah, see, because they're Finnish. Shut up. The bracket comes down to the #1 Wisconsin Badgers and the #2 Wildcats, and I love the Wildcats to take this division. Okay? Boom. Which brings me to my lock of the brackets. I'm kidding. It's the Midwest, and it's Kentucky, and everyone knows how good they are. That's why they're the #1 overall seed, and it's hard to argue because they have the best talent in the tourney. And yes, I think they take the Midwest, but I don't think they make the final game. Why? Because they're going to get beat up in the Elite Eight by a very physical Wichita State team. Yeah, the Shockers, who nearly beat Kentucky last year, who are only 2 years removed from their 2013 Final Four appearance. And I can't believe a 28-4 team got a 7 seed. Please, the last time I saw a seed that shitty, I was at a clearance sale at a fertility clinic. And I'll tell you something else. The SEC schedule wasn't the toughest test all year because Kentucky reminds you of that hot chick we all banged, where the guys are all like, man, that chick could do porn. Really? Could she? Because there's a big difference between facing you once a week and taking a pounding from much larger talent and only having a lot less time to rest. And anyway, their biggest obstacle, both Kentucky and the Hot Chick, isn't an opponent. It's the issues. Whether it's the Indiana Hoosiers and what they did 39 years ago, or whether it's your father and what he did to you 17 years ago at a beach house. Either way, that shit haunts you at the worst time. So it's going to be Kentucky, Arizona, Oklahoma, and Iowa State. But Arizona takes down Kentucky, and Iowa State falls to Arizona in the championship. We'll be back next week to double check. Those are Geno's picks.